Okay, so in this video I'm going to prove to you why AI automation agencies are a scam and how you should go about creating systems that automate the workflows that are involved in the day-to-day of your company. So yeah, stick around for it. Okay, in order to first understand why they are a scam, we first need to understand how they work and what is an AI system, let's say. So let's get this out of here. Let's get this out of here. Okay. An AI system is composed of two things. So the intelligence part of it, the brain, let's say, and the automation. So connecting tools with one another. So for example, calling on APIs, sending things from the email to your sheets, all of that. The intelligence is what do you do with those automations. So for example, when a piece of data comes from a Google Sheet to your Slack, what happens there? So yeah, and basically intelligence is 80% of the work and drives 80% of the result, and automation drives 20% of the result. The problem with AI agencies and why I am saying that they are a scam is that they focus 80% of their time here, actually 90 and 10% here. When this is the most, this is actual AI. This is AI, artificial intelligence, not artificial automation. It's artificial intelligence. And I'm going to show you right now how they do it. So this would be an automation that an AI agency like I see every day would charge about 2 to 3 to 4K for. Which is basically you receive an email, it does a bunch of steps where it goes, pulls data on sheets, goes and pulls data on Airtable, runs through 2 GPTs and basically answers the email, updates the 2 knowledge bases and pings you on Slack. So basically it automatically answers emails for you. And these agencies are selling this and presenting this like this is something that is basically new, that never existed, that's so revolutionary, when this has been possible for the last 3-4 years that I know of. I'm not gonna say that it's been possible for 15 years when I don't know if it has or not. This has been possible with tools like Zapier, for example. There's nothing new here, and this is, like we wrote, an automation where yes, it's important to create these automations where things go from one place to another and they don't require your intervenience, but this is about 20% of the value that AI can provide, because like in this, only this part and this part are AI. So if you see, all of this you could have done before Zapier. This is, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Literally, I mean, this is match made in heaven. 8 of these you could have done before, which is automation. 20% is intelligence, and this is what a normal AI automation agency sells. This though, on the other hand, this is an actual AI, artificial intelligence system. This is Stack AI. I'll leave a link if you want down below, but just go stack.ai.com. I'm going to be making a few tutorials on how to use this, but I want to present to you the actual way of building an AI system, because this is the brain, this is intelligence, where you are leveraging different prompts, databases, and instructions and different models, because as you see, this is OpenAI, this is Anthropic, in order to build a system that generates you different outputs based on one input. This is the input in this case, and that then, yes, you can connect it to Zapier, and in this case, this is the automation that I have. So it catches all of these outputs, it formats it in a PDF, and it sends me a channel message to Slack with the PDF itself. But this, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 intelligence parts and 1 automation part. This is 80% intelligence, 20% automation, and this is an actual AI system because it's intelligence. You build a brain. For example, I'm going to show you right now, 1 sec. For example, this is a system that based on either an input, a text input, or a YouTube URL. What this does is this will run through an initial prompt that will give us a summary of the transcript. So for example, a 1-hour video will give you a summary of the transcript. From here, it will give us the top 10 relevant points, and you'll understand why in just a second, because based on these 10 relevant points, this is linked to this. You see here LLM5, which is this, takes the information from here to here. It creates a headline / actionable step, which this is what my clients use to create LinkedIn carousels, which is an automated workflow based on this. From this carousel, it goes into LLM tree, which basically starts creating Twitter threads based on the carousel. From the LinkedIn carousels, it goes to threads, then it goes to here, which creates hooks for these threads. And this is like 1/5 of the system, because I still have LinkedIn posts that I need to do. I still need to do email newsletters and YouTube scripts. So about 3 more LLMs will go to here. But basically, the way this works is for every one of these, let me, for example, share with you in this one. This is one step for each. For example, in this case, this is to create a lead list based on this input. Lead list that you can go on listkit.io, which I'll also leave a link in the description, and you can get a list of leads to contact. But basically, this is the only input that you will give, which is who you target. For example, on the first one, it will give you a list. On the second one, it will answer you all of these questions about the ICP. For example, it will answer you the main pain points that your customer has, what keeps them awake at night, the internal conversations before bed, and the conversation with a trusted friend. And you can read this. The market is red hot, but I'm not sure we're really ready to play at that level. You don't need to know this because this is specific to this system that I'm building. But from here, it will build you a V1 campaign that you can use, so an email campaign that you can send to the prospects that you get here. Then it will build you a version 2, then it will build you all the follow-ups. And then it will take the Zapier and it will give you all on a Slack message. This takes about 47 seconds to run. Now, I could have made it on Make. Basically, all of this part, automation, and 2 here, intelligence. But here, you cannot customize this, because this is 1, only OpenAI. You do not have Claude in this. And 2, you cannot do instructions, you cannot do prompts, and this is the most important part, you cannot insert documents. Because basically, what this does is, this is very, very, very important. For every one of these prompts, what this will do is it will run the prompt, will go look at the database, see the examples that you gave it, and give you the output. Then it will give the information to the next one, it will look at the database, and it will give you the output. Same for this. So what do you have to do? You have to create an intelligence system that takes about, I'm gonna explain to you in a bit the process of this. You create the databases, you create the prompts, and you create the instructions, and you have something that you can use at scale for a company with, let's say, 1,000 processes at a time, and this will always work. Why? Because it has the instructions and it has the database on how you want it to be formatted. But now I'm going to explain to you, 1, how to do this, 2, why AI automation agencies don't know how to do this. Okay, this is literally, I'm giving you all the sauce here. But yeah, let me go back to Stack AI and show you really quick how you do this. You basically want to test for a couple of different things. And let's do one from scratch. Not here. Here. You want to test a couple of different things. First of all, you want to test different models. Why is this so zoomed out? Yeah. Because you have OpenAI, you have Anthropic, and you have Google. You probably won't use, this is Llama. Where is Llama? No, Gemini. You probably won't use any other rather than this. But different use cases, because as you saw in this one, I have firstly one OpenAI, and then it's all Claude. So you have to test which one you need for the specific use case that you want. Because for specific things, for example, copy work, it's going to be Anthropic, Claude. For logic, it's going to be OpenAI. And Google is, if you want more, let's say, one task only. But this is the first thing that you need to test for, different models, different LLMs. Actually, this is out of order. Next thing to do is you have to test different models. Now you're testing models, which is what? Inside of OpenAI and Anthropic, you have a couple of models. You have, for example, Claude 3 that just came out yesterday, but normally you have Claude 2 and Claude 1, and you can see that they are different. Claude 2 does tasks better, Claude 1 does tasks faster. What you will see though is, for example, on GPT-4 32K has a limit of tokens, meaning your input can only be a certain length. So sometimes you will need to make GPT 3.5 Turbo, or because this also has token limits, sometimes you actually will need to make Claude 1, which is what I did in the carousel one, because the input, for example, GPTs wouldn't allow me to paste an input that was 1 hour long of a video. So this is the first two things that you will have to test. Next thing, you'll have to test the documents. So you have two different types of documents that you can use. You can use knowledge base or you can use data loaders. And as you see, both of them say documents. They are the same. What is the difference from each of these? One does document plus search. So it will see your documents plus it will try to search on the knowledge base for the answer. These documents is when you want to give it examples. So for example, write exactly like this, and you will upload this. You would upload a database with the examples of how you want it to write. If you go look at this, this is what I use here. So documents, not documents plus search. But you have to try it out by yourself, because like I can't tell you when to use which. You have to actually try this for yourself and see which one works when. I don't think I'm gonna go through all of this, but yeah, you need to test different instructions. So okay, now that you actually have the flow built, you will, for example, let's do a simple one. Where's the input? For example, you have an input here, you have an OpenAI, you have a data loader that connects here. This connects here, this connects here, and here we need to talk. For example, this is a database to write emails. You are an AI assistant. Then you would need to test until you get the desired output. But for example, your job is to create me 2 emails that I can use as the V1 of email campaign. I'm not gonna put the rules so you don't get my data, because yeah, I'm not gonna give you anything. I do lead gen for cybersecurity companies. This will be shit because I didn't put it anything, but this is just to prove a point, which is okay. Now, for example, you understand the flow that you need. For example, the LLM you want is an OpenAI. You have an input, you're gonna have the documents, and you're gonna have the output. Now what you need to do is test instructions and test prompts until you get the desired output here. And when you do, then you can replicate it. Because for example, now what you could do based on this, okay, so this will give me an email. Now I'll want something that you are an AI assistant. Your job is to research different ICPs that I can target with my offer that can pay me plus for my solution. So this would be a next step. You'd come here, output, boom. As you will see, we'll now have a second step of this automation. First need to know what you are building, and then you have to test Firstly, LLMs, which LLM are you going to use? Then which model are you going to use? Then is it going to be a knowledge base or data loaders? How's the flow going to look like? What type of data do you need? How are the outputs needed to look? Everything. But yeah, 1 second. Okay. My final point, which is how AI automation agencies do their work, let's say, and how my company do the work. Which is AI automation agencies have a couple of problems. First, they automate outputs without understanding what the output should look like. Because think about it, how can someone automate an email campaign or a LinkedIn campaign, a content creation campaign, which is something that they sell a lot, which is, we'll automate the entire content creation part of yours, when they have no idea how to do it manually. Like, if you don't know how to do it manually, how can you automate it? Next, as we talked about, the prioritize automation, so the make.com parts, let's say, over the intelligence. So this is not an AI agency. Next, they sell you templated solutions, which is like, okay, they built this once for you, then they go sell you, and they literally just connect your things here, and 3K. Lack of domain expertise, like I told you. If they don't know how to do it, how can they automate it? They overpromise and they underdeliver. They have insufficient data and testing, because you go see, you cannot put data here, very little data. Inadequate post-deployment support. They build this once and then it's on you to run it. If it breaks, our team will take care of it. The lack of collaboration with clients. So for example, they build what they think is fit. They don't ask you any feedback. On our end, we not only do we not build what we think, we only build based on our clients' feedback. Why? Because that's the easiest and fastest way to achieve product market fit. Because this is the dynamic enterprise modeling concept, which is you give your client a prototype, let's say MVP. So one, he can test it and he can use it from the very beginning, but two, he can give you feedback from the very beginning on what improvements you need to make, so that your solution is always in accordance with what the client wants, with what the market wants, because you're not guessing. You are giving him, this is what I built so far, give me feedback and I'll go implement it. For example, the last build I did, we received 9 rounds of feedback from version 1 to version final, which was version 10. 9 rounds of feedback directly from the client, from the market. This is product market fit. So now when I go approach other people that do the same as this person that I built this solution for, I already know that I have something that the market wants, because I built something based on the market's inputs. But to give you an example, to give you context, this is how we do it. So for example, let's say we know we have to create a system that automates content creation, LinkedIn content creation. Very good writing, huh? I only know how to create systems. I do not know how to write properly. First thing we'll do is we break down the entire process down into 10 steps, 10 to 20. Sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 30. Each with its own prompt. So for example, for the cold email, each of these process is a prompt. This is a process. So you creating the list. This is a process. You doing market research. This is a process, creating the first version. This is a process, and this is a process also. Each process will be a prompt. Because this basically, what is a workflow? A workflow is a series of processes needed to reach a desired outcome. This is exactly what we are doing. We are building workflows that automate all the processes necessary for you to achieve desired outcome. In this case, an entire email campaign. Next, we'll create an initial database and a set of instructions for each step. This is done on Claude or on GPT. So the actual LLM, example, actual LLM, not on a platform like this itself. because we first test it on GPT, for example. So then we can transfer it to stack/relevance. We then test, we do all of those testings, GPT/Claude/Google's, to see which one. Then we test the models. Then we compare the performance of knowledge base plus documents. We test different structures and flows to optimize the system. Because, for example, let me go here. I can have, this is one type of build. So one input, two LLMs, two outputs. But I can do something which is like this goes to here. So for example, an input goes to a first LLM, goes to a second LLM, goes to a third LLM, and goes to an output. This is, for example, one type of build. You can have another one, which is each of these, you have the outputs as well. And this might look like Chinese for you, but let me explain to you. Have an input, goes to the LLM, goes and searches the document to understand how to do it, gives you the output one, and passes this information to the next LLM, which does the same job with a different prompt, gives you an output, and gives it to the next LLM, which will then give you the last output. Different flows. For example, you can do just like this and just give me the final output. This is another part that we need to test, different structures. You have another structure which is like, okay, now let me do a lot of different inputs. So for example, 3 different inputs. So when the client goes here, he will have to give me 3 different inputs, for example, in order for this to work. And then once the flow is built, once you understand the prompts needed, the flow, so what's needed, is it LLMs, is it multiple outputs, multiple inputs, multiple databases, then we refine the databases until we consistently get the desired output. Because the databases are the most important part of the system, and you'll understand this in the next video. But it's more important than the prompts and then the instructions. It's the data. Data wins. Why is Google $1 billion company? Data. Data wins. Yeah, this process easily takes like 40 to 50 hours of work, no cap, on a single build. But by the end of it, we've created something that is truly unparalleled in the market. Why? Because we created intelligence, not automation. Yeah, after this, we will automate this. For example, we can come here, okay, send this to Airtable or send this to Zapier or even send it to Make, and then we build a scenario on Make where it does all of this. But intelligence wins. Yeah, this is pretty much it. I'm gonna get into more detail about this in the next few weeks, but for now, I think you have a lot to consider. So yeah, thank you for watching.